Hello, everyone. Your coach, your mentor, Rajeshri here. You have been attending the trainings, and I know I have received so many messages, and I know you have been loving the trainings. And this is the time to take it to the very next level. This is the time to act. You might be filled with a lot of questions. And is this something that's real? Is this something that would work for me? Is this affordable? Is this, whatever questions you have in your mind? Today, we are going to address that because I have someone special with you today who is going to share his own journey of transformation through TIR. His name is Pete Templin. Welcome, Pete.
Hi there.
Hi. So, Pete, I'm going to ask you a few questions. I want to ask, the questions are going to be regarding the TIR journey and your life before TIR, after TIR, and my audience will love to hear your experience. So let's get started with your background. So tell us a little bit about your background.
Sure. I'm in my 40s, living in the Seattle, Washington area, working a day job at Microsoft doing computer networking. Moved up here 6 years ago, lived in Texas, lived in Pennsylvania, sticking in the engineering world ever since college.
Awesome. So you have corporate background as well as the, yep. Good. So tell us, like, how was your life before you get into this material, thinking into results? How was your life before TIR?
Boring. I look back and I was on autopilot. I'd get up, I'd go to work. I wasn't all that thrilled with my job, wasn't all that successful, wasn't figuring out the promotion game, but I also wasn't figuring out how to be creative and to create things that would allow me to further my career, my life, my personal life, etc. And with various economic events and so forth, there were, clear impacts in the trajectory of things, but it was somewhat slightly upward, but it sure wasn't going far very fast.
Got it. And how is your life after TIR? What magical things happened in your life once you started the journey?
Two magical things to mention. First and foremost is we have a son that we did not have and could not seem to have prior to TIR. And it was a long journey, a lot of stops along the way. Obviously, most of them were unsuccessful. But, it got us to a point where we had a child. And I would not have had the mental control, the emotional stability, the forward thinkingness, and so forth to be able to support my wife sufficient enough that we would have gotten to this point. We're both convinced beyond belief that it was TIR. One of the expressions is respond, don't react. And, there were so many times where I knew how to control my emotions and put the right response there in front of her so that we could continue going forward and, weather the rough times to get to a point where we got onto another journey that had plenty of rough times, the challenges of pregnancy and now parenting. But who cares? We've got a son and he's amazing. We won't tell the story, but he had an ear infection around Christmas that just went haywire because he's such a happy, bubbly, positive, giggly, crazy kid all the time. We thought he was just tugging on his ear because it was teething, and it was an earache that got mistreated. And boy, was it a train wreck! But he didn't care. He was like, "Let's play, Dad. Let's go, Dad. Let's do stuff."
TIR baby.
Yeah, absolutely. And so that's the absolute highlight. He's 17 months old. He's such a hoot. But also, there's more. I had this hobby of photography, and I had a bad layoff back in the .com crash, and I said, okay, when I get back on my feet, I really need a plan B career. And somehow that became photography. But I really never was pursuing it to be a plan B career. It was just kind of waiting in the wings. And through the magic of TIR, I found the direction, the confidence, the finances, etc., to be able to take that leap, sign a lease on a commercial space to have a photography studio that I still have today. I would love to upgrade it. COVID times are not a great time to upgrade it, but that's right around the corner. And there's more opportunities coming my way because of it. So, you know, it was not possible. My wife was not willing to sign that lease until we went through TIR. It simply was not in the cards. So could not be here without it.
Yes, I mean, definitely, you have so many magical moments in your life because of TIR. You have your son, you have your financial independence, you established your plan B.
Right.
Definitely, definitely. It's phenomenal stories that you have to share. So talk to me about like what are the biggest obstacles you learn to deal with, successfully deal with because of the TIR?
Responding, not reacting. I guess you'd call it a temper. I guess I wouldn't call it a temper, but I had this predisposition to immediately jumping to a negative conclusion for so many things in life. That, you know, my paycheck was because my company didn't like me and so forth. And, you know, I've since realized, okay, there's a bazillion ways in front of me that I can create a much more positive, much more results driven outcome around me that will cause my pay to increase, if not through current job, but through something else. And the opportunities don't stop. Like it's amazing what comes weekly, I would almost say, for how to excel, how to improve, how to grow and prosper. And it's through mental control and mindset that I'm just able to put myself on that positive path.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's amazing. And like what, so if you look at TIR's journey, which is your favorite lesson and why? Why do you think that made a huge impact in your life?
You know, I struggle to isolate a lesson, but you know, it's the stick person. And I have a daily start worksheet that I fill out every morning, and it's got a variety of elements throughout the program, but one of which is that I draw the stick person as best as I know it every morning. And you know, I struggled so much with the articulation of how the subconscious mind only accepts. I'm like, that how do you, okay, so it only accepts, how do you fix that? And it finally came clear. It was just I woke up or something like that. I was in the shower probably. And I'm like, okay, just accept it. Hey, wait, the subconscious mind only accepts. Just accept that, you know, this is how it works. So if I invest the effort, the thought pattern now to be more positive, I can implant that in my subconscious mind. And then tomorrow, next week, next month, whatever, when a moment of decision comes along, that change in trajectory inside my subconscious mind will help my conscious mind respond in a more positive manner rather than reacting in my traditional negative manner. And it's that change that got noticed by everyone. You know, fellow TIR students, managers at work, teammates, colleagues, customers, and it showed up in the books, you know, in the revenue. It presented itself with more and more business, and that right there was, you know, redemption for the investment I put in.
That's incredible. That's incredible. And you are absolutely right. The stick person is really a genie. It's a life-changing genie. And
Yep.
like, as Bob says, it is going to change a lot of our more lives. Yeah. And
Yes.
so what are some of the factors that or the doubts that you had at the beginning of your journey, like um, you know, time, money, or whatever? I mean, did you have any kind of doubts before you invested into this program? Or what was your
All of it.
what was your mindset at that time?
Well, to some degree, there was a certain amount of, it was so many things, but one of which was I had an epiphany. I was like, okay, you know what, Pete, you've invested a lot of money in all this photographic gear and a lot of money and effort in training and learning a particular style that I generally do in my work. Why am I not capitalizing on that? Well, I'm scared. There's expenses, there's risk, there's, conflict and challenges and so forth. And I'm not good at marketing and so forth. And, magically, TIR came in front of me at that time. And I was like, okay, I think Bob says, if you're not, let's even think about insanity. People talk about how insanity is, trying to do the same thing over and over and expecting different results. That's what I was doing. And somebody slapped me across the face and said, look, Pete, here's what you need to change your mindset, to move yourself forward, to give you the confidence you need to go forward. And they couldn't have been more right. It's been amazing okay, I can do this. I can look at the money. I can decide how to adjust because I've got to change. If I don't change, I'm not going to move forward. How can I pinch some corners, find more income, whatever, and make this fly? And, we were able to look at it and say, okay, we only need to bring in this many clients per month to cover the rent. And if we don't cover it, here's how we can cover it from another source. And, it didn't take too long before we were covering the rent and making some money on it. And, then we get to explore with the growing the business, trying new marketing, bringing in advertisements, models, etc., to expand our portfolio, broaden our range of services. And it's a snowball effect. It's just been amazing to ride that down the mountain, and the mountain seems to never end.
That's true. Like sometimes you have to take that leap of faith. You would probably never know what's coming unless and until you take the charge of your life. I mean,
right.
That's one thing, that one decision, that one action changed your whole life. And I would say it's not only your life, but your son, but your wife's life, and, the businesses. Like, I'm pretty sure it's never going to be the same again. You'll never be going back to the old story, and it's going to change your whole life. And that's really magical. Like, one program, one investment, one person can make such a huge impact on life.
Exactly.
That's
been amazing.
Incredible. That's incredible. Thank you so much, Pete. I have the last question for you is, do you have any piece of advice for my audience, for my viewers, who might be, or, who might be interested, but not committed yet, or they're still thinking? Do you have any piece of advice for them?
Dream big, and then figure out what you've got to do to get yourself on that course. Because I can tell you right now, your goal isn't big enough. You've got to raise the bar, because you want it to be so big, so unbelievable that you don't know how you're going to get there. But let me tell you, the fun is in figuring out how to get there. I'm dreaming of a boat, and it's just, I don't know how to get there. I'm a little afraid to ask the price tag of the boat that I want, but I know I'm going to get there. And, I've worked, chatted with my wife, figured out how are we going to lay out the boat? What's this cabin going to be like? What's this cabin going to be like? How are we going to do this shower? How are we going to do the dining area? And there's so much fun in that, and reaching for it, and commit, don't hold back. And, you're not going fast enough, far enough right now. You're never going to change that trajectory unless you change yourself. So take the plunge, commit 110%. Just when you have a questioning moment, push it out of your mind. You can do it. I can do it. You can do it. Take the leap. Don't look back, and watch the magic happen.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
So you've heard me pitch it. You've heard me talk about the results and the magic. But the key thing, the thing that's in front of you right now, is that you got to take the leap. So reach out to Registry, figure out what the next steps are, put the money down, go for it. Don't wait. Just do it, because your life will change. Your commitment, your trajectory, and your future is in your control. But without taking the leap, you're going to be on autopilot, taking the same old course. This is the time to make the change. She's the one. Go for it.
Thank you so much, Pete. Thank you so much for sharing your stories. Thank you so much for being here with us. Guys, you heard Pete. He has taken the action. Now it is your turn to take the action. So make it happen. Stay tuned. Keep rocking. Thank you so much for joining in.